What's up, you guys? John here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the upcoming stock market crash because it is going to get so bad. I think it's going to be the worst stock market crash we've ever seen. Way worse than 2008, worse than 1929, just probably the worst thing we'll ever see in our lives. And I think that a lot of people are going to lose everything. And I mean that in a big way. Everyone's saying, oh, invest in Tesla. It's up 400% this year. They're going to have driverless cars soon. Jump in here. You're going to take your money and take it to $10,000 or $20,000 per share soon. And this is a sure thing. No, everyone's about to lose their damn money. And that's just the reality. A third of the workforce so far is out of work. Over 60 million people have filed for unemployment with a workforce of 157 million. That is a big number. You have the government printing money and painting the illusion that everything is fine, that Main Street and Wall Street are on the same page. No, not at all. Everyone on Main Street is dependent on these checks. The moment these checks stop coming in, you're going to start to see real pain in the economy. And they're going to keep printing these checks probably until the elections or just after the elections. You look at the elections, they're 2 months away. 2 months away. And if you look at Joe Biden's tax plan, taxes are increasing in a big way for individuals, corporate tax, and business taxes. And right now, when you have all these businesses struggling to drum up a profit, it's going to get really hard, especially with Joe Biden's new policies with safety precautions. It's going to be real difficult for business. That being said, I'm looking at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, we all know, is one of the most legendary capitalists alive right now. He's sitting on $147 billion in cash, $147 billion through Berkshire Hathaway. That's 25% of their entire holdings is in cash. They're losing nearly $3 billion every year that they hold that kind of money. And let's not forget his number one rule. Number one rule is don't lose money. Rule number two is don't forget rule number one. Look what happened in that stock market crash in April. Dropped 30% almost, roughly 30%. Did Buffett buy? No, not at all, because that's nothing compared to what's coming. Instead, he just recently invested in a gold mine. So basically, he's selling shovels. He's not buying gold. People think he's out there buying gold. No. He's buying the mine. He knows that everyone's going to start buying gold, and he wants to get in ahead of time to basically control that market. So that being said, huge things are coming. Food supply chains are breaking. 5 months ago, everyone was panicking about toilet paper and beans and canned foods, and everyone just forgot that the food supply chains are breaking. And they think that things are good again. No, I was just in Whole Foods the other day in LA. The shelves are pretty vacant. They were not full, that's for sure. And I think we're going to see some real big pain just in a couple months. I would say within 6 months, we're going to see a big crash, huge. So that being said, I'm going to cover everything in this video. Please hit that like button. Drop your comments below. What do you think is going to happen with the stock market and the overall economy? And hit that subscribe button. All right, guys, let's begin. New normal. They say this is our new normal, and what they really mean is the freedom that you once had is gone, it's dead forever, and this is now what we deem as acceptable and safe for you. So for me, that scares the hell out of me, because I look at small business, medium-sized business, the people making $50,000, $100,000 a year, and they ultimately are now living off of unemployment and stimulus checks and small business loans through the government. So you see these people and they seem happy. Everything seems fine. A lot of these people are now making more money today than they were 7 months ago before all this. So it seems fine on Main Street, right? But ultimately what the government's doing is every single day, they're eroding away the independence of the people. It's like a wave crashing over a beach, just drawing more and more sand. And that's ultimately what's happening right now. There's many more people that are becoming more dependent upon the government. And so ultimately I ask myself, why? Why is the government doing this? Is it really for us? What is the reason? I mean, over 60 million people filed for unemployment so far. I mean, we have to realize this is a 2-week shutdown starting March that now is 6 months, and we're only on phase 1. So phase 2 is not going to be 2 weeks. We all know this. But by the end of this, I mean, how many people are still going to be independent? And then I ask myself, well, what is the government doing right now? Well, they're funding the stock market. They're painting a false narrative that the economy is healthy and everything is great. And once this closure is done, then we'll all go back to normal and everything will be completely great. And, there's nothing to worry about over here. Just keep enjoy this. And they try to paint some distraction. Oh, go watch the media. Look at all the hate from the left or the hate from the right, or look at the division, or look at the protests. Pay attention over here, pay attention over there. But the reality is they're pumping the stock market. They're painting this false illusion of security. People are putting their money in the stock market. The next wave of damage, the next wave of trouble that comes, people are going to start panicking. I mean, they're going to start panicking and start selling off stock. And I think we're going to have just a massive stock crash coming. We have the food supply chains breaking. The price of food is increasing 3%, which is the highest that it's increased the last 9 years so far. So 3%. So you have all these people that are now dependent upon the government. The moment the government says, hey, no more checks, or we're going to reduce unemployment again, now it's only $100 a week, or they continue playing that game, the government's going to own. So the government's going to pretty much own everybody. And that's not like a theory, or I mean, that's what's happening. If we can just kind of remove all the emotion from what we're told and actually look at the chain of events that we've experienced over the last 6 months, that's going to be the truth. That's ultimately the truth. And so I asked myself, well, they're pumping up the stock market. If they did crash the stock market, or someone did, the market crashed and everyone lost, then ultimately the government would have even more control. And I don't trust it. I don't trust the stock market. I look at how high it is right now. How can the stock market be this damn high when nobody is making money, really? No one's actually out there making money. It's just a false sense of security through the printing presses. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. I see way more risk out in that market than I do with sitting on the cash, even though they're printing so much cash right now. I mean, I sold Bitcoin last week when it hit the high. But I mean, who knows what's going to happen with Bitcoin? I know the number one investment is going to be real estate shelter going forward. I just see a huge crash in real estate coming soon, and I'll talk about that at another time. But stocks I see getting hit hardest the first, mainly because it's liquid and people can buy it and sell it quickly. So it doesn't take much for the entire market to move quickly because it's just so liquid. So Joe Biden wants to increase taxes, and that's not an opinion. That's simply something that he said. He wants to increase taxes. The issue here is that in the economy that we're in right now, when you increase the taxes, there's going to be less people hiring because they're making less money because they're paying more out in taxes. And when you have a huge pool of people that are unemployed, 60 million plus as of now, then that's going to make things much harder. So if you already have all these big companies that are struggling, the only real winner here is Amazon, Facebook, these software technology companies, and a lot of these companies are outsourcing talent. Yeah, they're hiring here too, but as time goes, they're just going to continue outsourcing and outsourcing and outsourcing. That's going to be the new normal, is outsourcing talent. And we're seeing it right now, even with a lot of these expensive cities. We're seeing people leave New York and LA and outsourcing talent and doing Zoom calls and doing all that. That's going to be the trend. So if taxes become much higher, it's going to make more sense for them to just outsource talent overseas. And it's going to incentivize basically the big smart companies, those billion-dollar companies, to play the tax game. And the people that are actually going to be paying the taxes are going to be the middle class, whatever's left of them, and the poor, which is going to be the majority of America. So that being said, it's going to tax everyone to death. That's not an opinion on Joe Biden or an opinion on Donald Trump. I'm talking strictly the economy and stock market. I see this as being a very, very big problem. So high taxes in this type of economic environment is going to be a problem for America. So that being said, I'm looking at the big picture here, not what this candidate is or that candidate or what the media says about this person or that person. And I'm not pro-Trump or pro-Biden. I'm simply pro-money, and that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking right at my pockets and seeing how am I going to be impacted the greatest going forward. So when it comes to impact, just always know when you are investing money, whether it's in stocks or whatever it is, just make sure that you are not investing more than you can afford to lose. That's the number one rule with investing. Don't risk what you can't afford to lose. Take calculated, smart, intelligent risk. Things that you actually understand. Buy things that you actually understand. Don't buy it because Jim Cramer or some news anchor tells you that it's going to 10x or 5x or whatever. buy something you really understand, because the stock market right now, nobody understands it. Let's just be honest. Nobody really understands what's happening because everything's happening behind the scenes. So that being said, just be smart and careful with your money. I personally think everyone needs at least 6 months worth of living expenses in the bank at a minimum, ideally a year. And everyone should be studying and learning about real estate, passive income, multifamily. I mean, all this stuff is so crucial and so important. I think ultimately what's going to matter the most long term is going to be shelter and survival. And I would rather have a roof over my head that I own, that I can lease out, than having some stock that can be manipulated or increased or decreased on the flip of a dime. So that being said, I would learn about real estate. I really would. I think real estate, we're going to see that crash come. I'm going to do a video on that soon. But real estate is the answer. That's the ultimate wealth driver. The population grows year over year. Inflation kills the dollar. It's only going to increase the values of properties long term. And I just see much more value with a long-term real estate investment than I do in stocks. Diving into the stock market today. So think about all this. Be conservative. Be a conservative and smart investor, and don't get caught up in the hype. People that generally get caught up in the hype lose money. So take all that into consideration, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. All right, guys.